A new book looks at the female pioneers in the Niagara wine industry whose contributions through the years have often been overlooked. Jennifer Wilhelm is with us. Jennifer, what did you learn from speaking to people like Debbie Pratt and Debbie Zimmerman and Linda Bramble and Nicolette Novak? What did you learn?
Well, I learned a lot, but what I really learned was that these challenges that the women faced in those early years are not just for people that are in the grape and wine industry. These are universal challenges that young people and young professionals will face no matter which sector they're working in. So, it's a valuable book for many sectors.
You went to Niagara College for the hospitality program, spent a number of years working in restaurants and wineries, then went back to teach at Niagara College. That was a big formative part of your life.
It was a very formative part of my life, yes, absolutely. That role put me in contact with not only the industry, because part of my role was the industry liaison, and also as a student advisor. So as an advisor with the students, I heard their struggles. I heard not only were they thinking what they were going to be, but they were thinking who they were going to be. And I took that all in because I remember being in that position.
When you look at someone like Andrea Bosk, Paul Bosk Sr. always got all the credit, but what was her role behind the scenes and what did she do to help the development of Chateau des Charmes and the industry?
Yeah, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. Madame was pivotal in so many ways. She was the face of Chateau des Charmes. Before it was, the beautiful chateau on York Road. But also, she understood from an early point that wine was about connection, relationships, stories. So when she welcomed you to the chateau.
And she did. She'd be the first person you would see when you walked in.
She was the face of hospitality. She raised the bar for so many of us here as we were learning about hospitality and building relationships. People didn't really want to hear about the pH levels or the tartaric acid in the wine. They wanted to hear, how are they going to enjoy it? How do you enjoy it? What do you pair this with? And she innately understood that. So many of us learned from her example.
At Inniskillen, the attention seems to go to Donald Zeraldo, Carl Kaiser, but just as important was Debbie Pratt for the hospitality ends of things.
Absolutely. Debbie Pratt had, like Andre Bosk, had been a teacher. And so Debbie understood that we were educating, but we were educating in a way that people needed to find enjoyable, because hospitality is a form, and especially when we're educating early years in the Ontario grape and wine industry, we want to tell people our story, but we want to tell it in an engaging way that they will remember.
Linda Bramble was one of your mentors at Niagara College. Tell me about your relationship with her.
Yeah, I was fortunate to have Linda as an instructor, early years, Niagara College, Brock University as well. And Linda really pushed me at times when I thought, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not right for the sommelier program. I'm so young, I haven't traveled, I don't have an expansive cellar. What can I bring to the world? And she, really mentored me through that and said, you can do this.
Nicolette Novak is another one that had a big influence on you?
Yes, it was actually at Nicolette's Blossom Brunch, the very first one in 1999, and I talk about that in the foreword of the book, where I looked around and realized that we were part of something so much bigger here. Hospitality and tourism and agriculture are the lifeblood of Niagara, especially as we've lost so much manufacturing. And we really have to embody that as ambassadors, and Nicolette has done that exceptionally well.
I know your book focuses on some of those earlier pioneers, but we're seeing women taking on other roles right now in the restaurant industry, hospitality, and in winemaking. We see some female winemakers now, and that must make you really proud to see that happening.
Very proud. It's not an easy job. It's very physical, and they're long hours. And for a lot of these women, this was a problem because these hours are not conducive. Whether you're working in a restaurant or whether you're a winemaker, the hours are long. It's physical. You're not available to pick up a phone or be there oftentimes. We're starting to find a lot more balance, and I think that's a role that is that's something that's important, that women can push forward and say, you know, yes, I do want a family, but I also want a career, and I have a right to both, and I can do both.
You had a launch event at Niagara College. How did that go? And you announced something there as well, right?
I did, yes. That was a wonderful event, and the industry has been, and community has been so receptive to the book. I think it's important because we all need these role models at all points in our life. So what we announced at the college was Elena Gailey-Pride, who's the editor of the book and a dear friend of mine, had made a point saying, you know, how can we give back? And we talked about it, and Elena said that she would like to redirect her fees for editing and managing the promotion of the book back to a bursary at Niagara College for a female student.
That's wonderful. Yeah. How can people get a copy of the book?
So the book is available at most wineries throughout Ontario, and hopefully more and more wineries. We also have it on Amazon and Indigo Chapters. The Niagara-on-the-Lake Museum is carrying the book, and I hope that some independent bookstores do as well.
Jennifer, thanks for coming in today. It's called Sharing a Glass. Pick up your copy today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.